Hey everybody, welcome to the Appalachian ADV Community Podcast. I'm your host, Kane Wagner, owner of Appalachian ADV Adventure Dual Sport Motorbiking LLC. I like long titles, hope everybody else does. I'm here today with my buddy Marcus Yonker, and we are going to do a little chatting about all kind of great motorcycle stuff, particularly in the state of West Virginia. But I've met Marcus basically through the Adventure Riders of Ohio. And I think the first time we met in person, you actually came up to a street track and trail event in Conneaut Lake.
Yep, that's right.
You and Irish came up and we had a good old time riding. So let's jump into it, man. How about you introduce yourself? Tell me where you're from, your history, that kind of stuff, man.
All right. Well, I'm Marcus Yonker. I'm from southeastern Ohio. Lived in southeast Idaho for a few years and then moved back to the area. I got into adventure motorcycle riding around 2018 when I bought my first bike. It was a Suzuki DR650, brand new off the showroom floor. Just kind of rode around a lot of the area. We got a lot of really good dirt roads here in southeast Ohio and across the river and here in West Virginia as well. We've got some amazing roads to ride in this area.
Oh, yeah.
And it just gave me a new way to explore the roads and everything. I was into grew up trail riding 4x4 vehicles with my dad and everything, so you cover a lot better ground on a bike and see a lot more in a day, and it's just a whole different experience, and it's a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun so far doing it.
Yeah, I remember like early days in my social media, I started posting up some pictures and stuff of riding, and one of my favorite places to ride when I first started was actually in Marcus's backyard down there in Wayne National Forest by Marietta. And I think that's maybe how we stumbled on each other potentially. I was just posting stuff about that, and I think you even put a comment out there and said, "Oh, that looks like whatever the road was that I was on." And I confirmed it, and then we kind of just became instant like buddies.
Yep, yeah, I think I somehow came across your Instagram profile,
Yeah.
and I think you had posted, I think it was out on Irish Run Road.
Yeah.
And that's a really that area right there's got a lot of good stuff in it.
Yeah, for sure. So like we're going to eventually talk about infamous adventures, but before we jump into that, what else do you do? What's your current job?
My current job, I'm a rail car mechanic. Just working on rail cars here for a little short line we've got locally here to us, and been doing that for about 2.5 years now. A lot of my background is in mechanical work. I went to school to be a diesel technician. That never really panned out for me, so I just kind of did different jobs here and there, but I'm really liking this one right now. It's a pretty good job.
Nice, yeah. So let's jump into the infamous adventures and the IMAT and all of that good stuff you got going on down there in West Virginia. So you are actually basically like an ambassador for that organization, is that correct?
Yep.
Awesome. So if you could just give a little background about it and Brian Holmes a little bit, and then tell us a little bit about what you guys got coming up.
So I met Brian back in 2018 through some local guys to where I live out here, and they were organizing a ride that they would do called the Trash Rally, and they would get cheap beater bikes, convert them over to adventure bikes, and they'd go ride for a weekend and see who could make it the farthest without the most breakdowns. Kind of similar to like a reliability rally type thing.
Yeah.
When I went and rode with him was actually Brian's proof ride for the IMAT routes.
Okay.
And rode with him and really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed the area over in eastern West Virginia where the routes are at. And just kind of talked with him more and more and got to be good friends with him and everything, and helped him out promoting his routes and everything. And then he kind of asked me to be an ambassador for him there, and that's kind of where it all took off.
Awesome. If you can, like, I'm sure a lot of people listening are gonna kind of already know about the organization and kind of what you guys have done. But if you can, just give like a little bit of like a taste of what is it and what kind of things you guys have to do to make it work.
So when Brian started doing this, kind of the things that he was really focused on was helping get tourism into smaller communities over on the side of the state, because there's some communities over there that might not get a lot of traffic through them or anything like that. If you can get people into those parts of the state to, spend a couple bucks at a mom and pop restaurant or, a little corner gas station or whatever, or even little mom and pop grocery store or something like that, it helps. Every little bit helps. So that's kind of what Brian's idea behind it was. Another thing is like, there's tons of roads. It gets overwhelming whenever you're planning a trip trying to find, where to go, how to get there, things like that.
Hmm.
And the routes that are located in the Monongahela National Forest. So a lot of the issues is that, you might see, say you look on Google Maps. Google Maps is almost always a go-to for scouting stuff out.
Sure.
Well, you might plan your route and you find a road and, plot yourself to go there. Well, then you get to that road and there's a gate on that road.
Yeah.
There's a lot of gated Forest Service roads over there. And so Brian wanted to put the routes together to make it easier for people to get over there, just download it on your GPS and go.
Yeah.
And so it's been a lot of fun, though. We've got the IMAT route, which is our first route that came out in 2018. It's 3 different loops. The loops total about 500 miles. Covers everything between Canaan Valley, West Virginia, down to Snowshoe Cass area, Elkins, and as far over into Seneca Rocks and Bluegrass, Virginia areas. And that route was featured in the August 2021 issue of RoadRUNNER magazine. We got to ride with those guys, and that was a lot of fun. Always really cool getting to, getting that magazine in the mail and opening it up, and there you are, with something you worked hard to put together, and
Yeah.
see something like that. I know Brian said that he had a friend that went to Costa Rica one time, and the Airbnb he was staying at had a copy of RoadRUNNER magazine, and it was the copy that we were in. So it's pretty cool to see and hear stuff like that.
Yeah, that's great. That's quite an accomplishment because I remember that article because I used to get RoadRUNNER magazine when I first started riding, and I remember seeing that. And at the time, I was riding a lot in kind of like Southeast Ohio, but we would definitely head into West Virginia a bunch. And that same kind of thing you're talking about would happen to us, like especially early on when I was just still trying to figure out how to, put together routes and stuff. Where you go to Google, you go to the Garmin Basecamp stuff, and there's a lot of lines out there, and it looks like there's so much terrain to cover. But then, we would come up to a gate or a dead end road or something like that where it doesn't go through anymore. So having the ability, especially in West Virginia, because there's just so much awesome terrain down there. So having you guys, actually put the time and effort into putting together some like really great routes that cover some really just gorgeous terrain, some really great roads. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we've had a lot of good feedback on our routes, and we've even been able to help with a couple different events as well. The MSTA, the Motorcycle Sport Touring Association, here in Southeast Ohio in Marietta, they host their flyby week in usually about the end of August is when they run that event. We've done some routes for them. We've also helped the MSTA Association with a rally that they do over in Canaan Valley, West Virginia area,
Yeah.
which is right in the heart of the IMAT routes and everything.
Right.
And then the big event that we help out with every year that we do a lot of the routing for is the Blackwater Adventure Rally. And we've done a lot of routes with that. Chris Burke, that has started that event, has done a fantastic job with that event.
Yeah.
People always ask, what rally should I go to? What event should I attend? And that's always my number one. It is a lot of fun. It's located just outside of Elkins, West Virginia.
Yeah.
I think I want to say we have close to 2,000 miles worth of routes. I think we've got about 18, 20 different routes for that event.
Yeah.
Phenomenal time over there. It's a lot. That's a really fun rally. That's, like I said, definitely one that I highly recommend.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we're, regionally we're close. The events that I do are Ohio, PA, but so a lot of the people that come out to my things also go to Blackwater and some of the other events in the region. And I tell you, the people that have come to the Blackwater event and then come out and talk about it with me, like they just have nothing but good things to say. And I was able to meet Chris last year at Soggy Bottom. He was there, I was there, so we had a chance to kind of chat for a few minutes. Super nice guy. Everybody says just great things about him. And I've been dying to get to that event. But for me personally, like I'm helping with Will and Wayne, and then I've been doing the Red River Scramble. They're kind of all in that same time frame. It's just a lot. You know, I don't. This year will probably be the same, but the following year I'm gonna try to make my schedule so that I can make it to that event, just because I've heard so many good things about it.
Yeah, I think this year we're going into the fourth year of it. I think the last few years we've capped out pretty quick on ticket sales too.
Mm-hmm.
So
What's the
it
total number on that?
I think last year we did 300.
Okay.
We capped it out at 300, and we had a pretty maxed out event. But it's really good. Just outside of Elkins, off of US 33, there's a place called the Alpine Lodge. It's a little restaurant and has hands down the best food I've ever had. Chris is good buddies with John, the guy that owns the place and runs it. And John comes over and does catered meals.
Oh, nice.
Usually have bands playing Friday and Saturday night. This past year, Saturday night, we had the Jeremy Short Band, which was a lot of fun. They're a really good band to listen to. They're a lot of fun to get down and party with.
Nice. Did they do like the slow race stuff and like the confidence course type stuff too? Is that there?
Yep. They usually have Friday night and Saturday night. They'll do some field games. They'll do slow races. They'll do cone courses. They did the one year that you pick up the ball and move them from cone to cone.
Oh yeah.
Um, do it one-handed and everything. That was a lot of fun. And they did. I think last year was the first time they did it. They did like the square dance. I don't know if you ever seen that one or not. They put everybody in a square,
Yeah.
and you go until the last man standing. So it's a lot of fun to watch.
That's awesome. It sounds like a good time, man. Like I said, everybody I've talked to has just had nothing but good things to say about it. So that's good. Like the fact that you're getting feedback like that for an event, it's always nice to hear what people got to say.
Oh yeah.
So I know like you guys have been involved in some level of government lobbying or that type of thing. And I want to say you guys got some type of award down there at some point too. Can you talk a little bit about your work with the government?
Yeah, so me and Brian are also board members for the West Virginia Country Roads Coalition. And a big thing with our mission with that is keeping access to a lot of the unmaintained roads and everything that's all across the state.
Yeah.
And kind of working to help promote that and, show that West Virginia has the opportunity to be one of the best OHV places in the country. We do our Adventure Travel Day every year at the state capitol. And they were also doing a Motorsports Day, and this year we combined with them because we pull from a lot of the same user groups there. And so we're doing that this year on March 28th and 29th. Friday the 28th, we'll all be setting up inside of the Capitol building underneath of the rotunda.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of fun to do it on that day because we're also between the House and Senate chamber entrances. So we have all the legislators, coming through, checking everything out, seeing everything, seeing all the people that are coming to attend and everything like that. Because it's open to the public as well. You can come into the Capitol, come up and check out everybody that's there. And it just kind of helps to push the message of, hey, this crowd is here and this crowd is ready to spend money in the state. Right. And, boost the economy in all these little areas and everything like that. So it's a lot of fun. And then on March 29th, that Saturday, we'll be setting up outside of the Capitol. Be a bunch of different vehicles, everything from drift cars, dirt race cars, dragsters, to off-road rigs. We have a couple guys coming with dual sport bikes, all kinds of things. We'll all be set up outside of the Capitol there, and that's another public is welcome to attend event. And it's nice to do that, get the public to come out to that and everything like that. And
Yeah.
it's a really good time. That's a well worth it event to come to. Also, no matter where you're from, we did it one year and we had people come from I think we had some people come from Tennessee,
Huh.
a couple people from different parts of Ohio, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Virginia. So it's uh it's a lot of fun. It's a really good time. But yeah, we work with that group pretty often. Like I said, we're board members on there. So
Yeah, that's great because I've always been impressed with West Virginia's like outdoor community in general. Because I mean, there is just so much stuff there to do. You got ski resorts, you got whitewater rafting, world class whitewater rafting, and you got all these great roads. You got the Hatfield McCoy trails. You got so much great outdoor adventures there. It's just awesome to hear the buy-in from the state and understanding that such a good thing for the state to bring these people in. I mean, especially like the Hatfield McCoy, it's got to bring in people from all across the country. I'm assuming it has to. It's such a good area to ride.
yeah, I personally haven't been there, but that's kind of the big thing, and that's one thing that we're kind of working with the state is to show that there's more than just Hatfield and McCoy, you know.
Yeah.
And part of what I said there was like, we work to keep these roads open and everything like that.
Hmm.
Because sometimes it gets intimidating to see that, you have to come down and pay $50 for a weekend to ride somewhere when there's thousands upon thousands of miles of roads and trails that,
Yeah.
you don't have to pay to access.
Yeah.
And so that's something that we really push for. Another event that we do, we partnered up with Tread Lightly to do West Virginia Tread Lightly Day.
Yeah.
And what that is, we do that in September. I want to say the date for this year is September 20th. I'm not 100% sure on that, but sometime in that time frame. But what we do, we get West Virginia REAP involved. The DNR will get involved and help us out with it and everything like that, and a couple other state organizations. And we get a couple different cleanup sites across the state. And it's our way to show, the OHV community cares about the areas that we're accessing.
Yeah.
And so it's really cool to get, all these locations across the state at the same time on the same day, going around cleaning up, picking up trash, cleaning these areas up, and, showing that we care about this and we want this stuff to stay open.
That's awesome, man. That's such a thing to coordinate, and it's such a great thing to hear that it's happening. Like, and that's something going back to that Hatfield McCoy. For a lot of people, Hatfield McCoy is kind of like the draw to brings you into West Virginia. And then once you're in there, I think like what you guys have done with the IMAT is definitely tried to showcase some of the other areas of the state. Because I think Hatfield McCoy is mostly down south, closer to Kentucky, right? And you
Yeah, yeah,
guys,
it's kind of the southwestern side of the state.
yeah, so you guys are trying to showcase other parts of the state to say, hey, Hatfield McCoy is great. It's awesome that it's there, but guess what? Come on up here. We'll show you a good time too. I think that's a great way to do it. And then you have plenty of opportunities in your state to go out and get adventure ready.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That's kind of one thing. Another thing that Brian kind of drove Brian to put together Infamous Adventures and everything like that was to showcase, like you said, showcase the other parts of the state that's there, and again, access these smaller communities, help, put a little bit of money into these other communities and everything like that.
Yeah. That's the thing that I've noticed, from my days when I would mountain bike more often or I would go hiking more often. You tend to not spend a lot of money when you're mountain biking and hiking and stuff. You're kind of bringing your own stuff in. You're just filling up a water bottle. As I've done like the power sports thing, you are submitting a lot of money to the area you're going to because you're paying for gas, you're paying for some type of lodging, whether it's four walls or a campground. You're stopping at the local mom and pops and grabbing supplies. You're stopping for dinner. Like power sports people come into an area and they spend money. And I think for West Virginia to have the government kind of realize that that is happening, I think it's such a great thing.
Yeah, absolutely. We've had a lot of other events that we've kind of helped organize. I know one that Brian helped do some routing for was a trip called XPDN3 that was presented by Milestar Tires, and it was I think it was like a 3-day 4x4 overlanding trip that they did from Snowshoe up to Canaan Valley. And Milestar Tires contacted Jerry Bain, who's the chairman of the Country Roads Coalition and very well-known name throughout the state in the 4x4 industry. When Jerry got into doing that, the first person that he knew to call for the routing was Brian. So Brian's got a pretty good reputation across the state also,
Yeah.
for the routing and everything. But that helped to bring in a lot of outside faces into West Virginia,
Yeah.
and it was a lot of industry people from different well-known off-road companies and everything came to this. I know Skyjacker Suspension came in for it, All Pro Off-Road, Torque Industries, Lockers, and a couple different social media influencers came on that trip too,
Yeah.
and opened their eyes. And those people went out and told their friends, and then a lot of their friends were like, we want to come to West Virginia and do this. And something that Jerry organizes every year is called Adventure Appalachia, and
Yeah.
it's a invite only 4x4 ride, but they get a lot of good names between social media influencers and industry people too. So it's really cool to see the things that have come into West Virginia and getting eyes put on to West Virginia.
Yeah, for sure. And it's a point I was going to make at some, time in this conversation was, that your the infamous adventures like the IMAT and those things, I think you maybe initially intended for motorcycling, but you've noticed that there are tons of overlanders that are interested in this stuff as well. So you got adventure, you got dual sport, you got overlanders, you got all kind of people interested in this thing. And that to me is powerful because if you segment off, like I'm a bike only, screw them overlanders, then you're not going to get anywhere with that. Like if you work together and you realize that you're fighting for the same thing is opportunity to get outside and get on places that you can't normally get onto, then it's going to work way better. So the fact that you guys have kind of reached out or have other people reach out to you from from outside of the adventure motorcycle segment is awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And one hobby that's kind of starting to pick up speed in the state that kind of surprised me is gravel biking.
Yeah.
And that's a market that's really taken off and everything. And I know that we've had a couple people, gravel bike riders, kind of show some interest into, our routes and everything like that, because again, it's just everything that we do is on public roads. So there's multiple user groups that can access this stuff.
Yeah.
So the gravel biking is kind of taken off and everything, and that's kind of a new market that we're looking at.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's definitely been getting more and more popular over the years. I've heard about it more and more, and a lot of the guys that actually do adventure and dual sport do that gravel biking too. So that's the thing is like there's a lot of crossover anymore with a lot of this stuff. So the more we can help each other out, the better.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's always good, like you said, it's good because then, as long as we're good stewards, to one group, they'll be a good steward back to us. And then whenever an issue comes up or something, you have those user groups coming together to fight for the same cause.
Yeah,
So it's really good to see all that, companionship going on across the different industries and different hobbies.
for sure. Yeah, I think that's a good segue into something that you guys did recently, right? Was the 24 Hours of Appalachia event that just occurred. But I know that one kind of travels around. So if you want to tell a little bit about that and what you guys just did with it, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, so our buddy Jedediah Smith, he works with a group called Backroads of Appalachia. He started putting on the 24 Hours of Appalachia events. And what it is, it's a 24-hour endurance rally. It's not a race, but you're based on your best average speed and time. And, that all falls into navigation, everything like that. Me and Brian just competed this past weekend in his Jeep Comanche that he's got. And this past weekend's event started in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, and went to Seneca Rocks.
Yeah.
And the route was just shy of 600 miles. And you're given 24 hours to complete it. There's about three to four different checkpoints along the way.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we made it to the first checkpoint and bailed out. Had a couple issues with our group, and then there was a pretty bad bottleneck on a really bad hill climb
Oh yeah.
about 3 miles from the first checkpoint. But it was still a lot of fun. This past weekend's event was street legal side by sides and full size vehicles, and I think there were over 200 vehicles entered that competed in it. And there was, I think there was a group from California that came, and there was another guy that drove from South Dakota to compete in it. You know, the industry's been watching, you know, what Jed is doing with these events. So again, it's putting eyes on West Virginia,
Yeah.
seeing what West Virginia has to offer and everything.
Yeah.
I know Jed has a couple other events planned this year that are also going to include bikes.
Hmm.
I myself, last summer, I competed in the event in Hinton, West Virginia. Didn't make it too far. I think I left about 6 or 7 in the morning, and I rode till about 8 o'clock. But again, it's a really good event. A lot of people have eyes on these events and everything, and it's really cool to see, you know, these people coming from outside of the state that want to come here and do these events.
Yeah. Well, I know he's expanding it too, because I know he's been doing it in West Virginia. He's doing one in Ohio this year, right? And isn't he doing one in Kentucky too, maybe?
Uh, yeah, I think it's the first weekend in May. He's doing Southeast Ohio.
Hmm.
He's going to be running that one as a loop. I think they're basing out of MacArthur, Ohio. And then, yeah, he's doing one in Kentucky. I think he does that one around October. I think he changed it up the format a little bit on it this year,
Yeah.
but I believe this year, to get into the Kentucky event, you have to be invited. It's kind of based on your performance on some of the prior events and everything like that.
Yeah. You know, having it restricted like that, it's a little bit more skin in the game for the people that are doing it. Then that's kind of nice.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Awesome, Marcus. So I think it'd be good to kind of tell people maybe a little bit about the website. You guys, I know you guys have a website and you're selling maps and some GPX files over there. So why don't you talk a little bit about the website?
Yeah, so our website is iadv.info, and you go to that website and you can get our GPX files. And one of the best parts about it is our GPX files are free. So you can get on our website and you fill it out and everything, and then you'll get an email and you'll have the GPX files. We've got a couple of other things on our website. We got some different merch and stuff like that. But another thing that we have for the iMap, we have a paper map, and you can buy that on our website. And we actually just partnered with a store in Thomas, West Virginia called McClumsy, and they are our first and only brick and mortar store that you can go into and buy our paper maps.
Nice.
Um, and he's located right on the route there in Thomas, West Virginia. Really cool store. He's got some really great stuff in there. I know I've stopped in there a couple times. I know Brian has several of his hats and everything. But yeah, they we partnered with them since they're right on the route and everything. And it's just, you know, again, it's another way to help support the local communities and stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. The good thing about that is they don't go bad. Like if they're buying bread to make sandwiches, eventually that bread goes bad. They got to throw it away if they don't sell it. But for those maps, they can sit there for a minute in between people purchasing them, and it's not gonna expire or anything. So that it helps them with their profit margin basically.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And you know, you might be in there, you might see one of his shirts or one of his hats or one of his stickers too, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, so
You guys have been I know he's talked about doing some tours, and I remember seeing something out there about you guys doing the tours. Is that something you're continuing to do?
yeah, so that's one thing that we do. We usually do 1 weekend a year, we'll do a guided ride.
Hmm.
Um, the 2 previous years, we've hosted it at Brian's house. He lives over in Davis, West Virginia.
Yeah.
Um, he's got an Airbnb, and his brother have an Airbnb as well. So, you know, you get your couple different room options with that, but you get that, and then the travel or the guided part of it and everything like that.
Yeah.
Um, and then we've had some pretty good success with it. I think the first year we had 4 riders. I think last year we had 4 riders, and 4 of those riders were 3 returning riders from our
Huh,
first event.
really?
So it's really good to see that, we're doing something right with it.
Yeah, that's great.
Um, we got plans to roll one out for our 2025 ride. It's going to be late summer, early fall.
Yeah.
Um, and I think it's going to be on our SIMAT route, which is in southern West Virginia, kind of down around the Marlington, Richwood, Watauga State Park, Cranberry Glades area.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. I think especially since you guys have been out there for a while now too, if that's promoted correctly, I think there'd be a lot of interest because you guys are the guys that are out there finding every nook and cranny that you could potentially take an adventure bike on. So, just from experience, like that's what I've tried to do with like the PA Wilds and the Allegheny region is find as much of the best that I can and then have a chance to show that to somebody else. It's very rewarding to do that, and a lot of people are interested in, it's nice to have a GPX file and to go out and just follow a thing, but sometimes it's just better if somebody can take you out there and then tell you a bit of the story of the area too. It's different if you're just going to go to ride and that's your main thing is just to ride, then yeah, the GPX file is great, but if you want to hear a bit more of the history, stop in the specific mom and pops that are really great. Like you've already scouted all of that stuff out for people, so it's definitely worth it to me.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a really big key factor to, doing these guided rides is that you're able to kind of get more in person with these people and you're able to show them some of the, you know, they're right off the route, but sometimes they're, hidden spots that otherwise you would have just rode past this spot.
Yeah.
Like on our IMAT route, one of the locations that we stop at is the Sinks of Gandy, which is a really cool little spot. Gandy Creek just kind of flows into this cave on a hillside and goes underground for about 3/4 of a mile. And you can walk down through the field and get down to it. But if you were just riding along the route, you know, you would ride right by this place because it's hidden on the backside of the hill from the
Right.
road. Another like there's one location that we stop at Still Hollow Distillery in Job, West Virginia.
Mm.
They're kind of tucked back in a little holler down there, but they make some great whiskey and bourbons down in there. So usually when we do these tours, we'll kind of do a little pit stop there and show the guys, and the guys will be able to check stuff out and buy some of their product.
Yeah.
And you know like uh, like last year we stopped in and took the guys to McClumsey there in Thomas, and the guys really enjoyed it there. They one of the guys noticed that they had sold Gooder brand sunglasses. He said that was the most of that brand he's ever seen in a store before. So he was excited about that and I think he grabbed a pair or two of their glasses while they were in there.
That's great. Yeah, for me, like when I'm doing the tours, that's a rewarding part is that I can tell the story of the area and you can really highlight like really specific things and it's good to just tell a story as opposed to just going out and riding and beelining through all that stuff where you can go past this very interesting thing. It's just worth being with somebody that kind of knows the area.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of my favorite parts about it too, is getting to show people the lesser seen locations and things like that, or finding a cool little spot off the side of the road, where something happened there, with a little bit of historical significance and everything that otherwise they wouldn't know about. They'd just go right on past it.
So besides the tours, is there any other upcoming projects you guys have been talking about doing or working on?
I know I think we've got a couple new routes planned for the Blackwater Rally this year.
Okay.
Um, I've got one in mind that I've got that I'm going to kind of work on and try to get something together with me and Brian, get a new route set up for that.
Awesome, man. Well, I'm looking forward to, trying to hit up that Blackwater. And I'm really hoping that we get an opportunity to ride again pretty soon, man. It's been a while since we've ridden together. But otherwise, I'll definitely see you at the next Adventures Riders of Ohio potluck.
Absolutely, man.